It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Good morning, America. You're listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael Evans, and I am the host here. I want to bring you up to speed on what's going on with the war on America, sponsored they're kicking it off today. It's a war on energy, and it's a war on you by your own government, your own administration, the Barack insane Obama administration, and he's utilizing the EPA as a weapon of mass destruction against American citizens. The goal is to jack the electricity rates, drain you of resources, keep you off balance and confused. It's the equivalent of shock and awe on American citizens. And I, for one, am sick and tired of being betrayed. Our electricity bills have gone up 40% in just the last couple of years alone. Wait until you see what this does. This is the administration's equivalent of, we're going to quit a job without hope of another job. We don't have a resume put together. We've not inquired about another job. It's a terrible job market, but we're going to quit this one because we don't like it. Who does that? You don't do that when you've got 315 million people relying upon you for food and a roof and heat and water. But that's essentially what they've done. Find anyone in the job-seeking industry. Find a headhunter. Find anybody who works in employment and finding jobs and say to them, I really don't like this job I have. And, you know, it's a job that a lot of the public doesn't like. And I'm just curious, should I quit it first and then go find another job, or should I find one first and then quit this one? And I guarantee you that 100 out of 100 will tell you the same thing. Never quit one job until you've got another one. But that's not what we're doing. We're going to quit this job, and we don't have anything to replace coal with. The percentage of American energy that comes from coal is like 36%. I apologize. That's natural gas. I believe coal is actually 60%. What we get from the alternative energy solutions is between 5 and 7%. And that's what I'm talking about there is solar and water and wind. We can't build nuclear plants because the Department of Energy and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and frankly, we probably shouldn't. They're dangerous. We don't really have a way to control that. As we saw with Fukushima, you know, one hair out of place can cause a major disaster that will affect people for literally thousands of years. Until we have that right, and I'm not sure we can ever have it right, but, I mean, we have coal. We don't have another solution. We can't build natural gas plants fast enough. I mean, if the government said, look, this coal is a problem, and we're going to provide for the fact that we've got to wean us off of coal, and they are to a certain extent. I mean, in all fairness, this doesn't take effect fully until 2030, right? So it's a 15-year plan. But they're instituting it now, and the gas when electricity prices have already climbed 40 and 50, and in some cases 100%. We heard what Barack Obama promised us. Under my plan, electricity prices will necessarily skyrocket. He told us that. He said, if you want to build a coal plant under my administration, you can, but it's going to bankrupt you. What kind of a president says that? Whose side is he on? The Pentagon is in on the game. They're doing everything they can. And look, anybody in the Pentagon who disagrees with Obama and his climate change agenda for the military, which one has nothing to do with the other, or his boot-stomping destruction of America, they've been ousted already. They've already been purged. Now all they've got is the loyal ass kissers. Pentagon's going to change the way they fight war over climate change. What kind of insane nonsense is that? You got more. Look, they just had a volcano the other day in Philippines somewhere, or I've forgotten where it was now. Anyway, here's my point. Indonesia. That volcano has spewed more carbon into the atmosphere than the entire world has produced in the last 5 years. That won't stop them. Because their real goal is the destruction of our nation. Their real goal is to bring us to a third world country where we become the equivalent of India's caste system. There are elitists at the top, oligarchs, corporatocracies, aristocrats, and then there's everybody else. And if you're listening to this program, you ain't in the aristocracy. That much is for damn sure. The Hill calls it a climate change war with Republicans. It's not a climate change war with Republicans. It's a war on America. It's a war on you. It's a war on your children. It's a war on your parents. And also that he can leave a legacy. A legacy of what? Treason? A legacy of being the first president to openly, blatantly break the law time and time and time again? A legacy of manipulating Congress and administrative agencies to act as weapons of mass destruction against the country that he allegedly leads. But all Republicans are worried about is, I wonder if we can use this to win back the Senate. The whole flipping lot of them needs to be in handcuffs. We need a perp walk that's about 3,000 people long, chained together like the traitorous animals they are. Even the Chamber of Commerce, and I don't believe anything the Chamber of Commerce has to say because they are, at least with regard to immigration, because they're pumping for immigration at the behest, of course, of the multinationals and the transnational corporations that own them. But even the Chamber of Commerce argues the rules will cost the U.S. economy $50 billion a year. $50 billion. Folks, where are they going to get that money? I can tell you where they're going to get it. Out of you. To make matters worse, the number of jobs that will be lost is in the 220 to 250,000 range. Now, 1 in 6 men between 24 and 54 are not working. 1 in 6. It's the highest number of unemployment we've had since the Great Depression. But these people don't care. You see, and the reason they don't care is because they are achieving their goal. Their goal is the utter destruction of the United States of America. I cannot say it often enough. I cannot say it clearly enough. I cannot say it loud enough. Their goal is the utter destruction of this nation. They choose to tear it down and raise the phoenix of tyranny from the ashes of liberty and freedom. That's their goal. Any other way you look at it is self-delusion. And they'll do anything and everything to achieve that goal. They don't care about anything else. They just don't care. I don't know where it is for Americans to go from here, because to me, there's no point anymore in trying to raise awareness. If you're not awake now, then you're lost to us anyway. Think about it from the perspective of a minister. You can go out there and you can stand on the street corner on the prostitution alley. And you can sit there and you can, educate and teach. And you might save one once in a great while, but for the most part, they want to live in squalor and just, apathy and drug addiction. And it's the same with Americans. We can sit here and we can talk to them all we want. We try to raise awareness. I can't get videos to get out there on YouTube because YouTube shuts them down. They shut off, they lock them down. I can't post stuff on Patriot FB because my internet provider won't allow me to post anything on Patriot FB. If I do it at the studio here, it gets up there. If I do it from my home office, it doesn't. How's that? Why is that? That's only one thing, folks, the internet provider. And frankly, I'm tired of the fight. I'm tired of working ceaselessly, relentlessly, tirelessly to awaken Americans who don't even want to be saved. They want to wallow in their misery. They gladly lick the boots of their master. And I don't understand it. I can't make headway. I just cannot make headway. I mean, I look at the numbers of people who listen to and allow themselves to be fooled by Fox News. Who is, for all intents and purposes, nothing more than controlled opposition is the only phrase I can use for them. They're controlled opposition. They're meant to give you the illusion, just like voting, of choice. But you're voting for Republican and Democrat. And they've got that entire stage locked down so that there's no other entrance allowed. It's an illusion. Two parties are just doing the same thing, wearing different clothing while they're doing it. They approach it from different angles, but the end goal is the same. The media is, I don't think ever in the United States of America the media has been this compliant in the betrayal of their own nation and themselves, frankly, because it's suicidal. I'm a pretty blunt guy. I've had many of our listeners say, I can't believe that you don't have a national program. Listen, I'm on one radio station, one. And they play it at midnight because they're normally a music format. I'm locked out of the local radio station. They don't want anything to do with this program. You know why? Well, I can't speak for their mindset, but I can tell you that when we have been on radio, we more than paid our own way with advertising. And the listenership was huge because average people want to hear. But those who are controlling things don't. I've been doing this for 3 years. And I have watched things slide at an accelerated rate that is not terrifying. It's beyond terror. Every day I see another step taken towards treason, the destruction, the utter loss of everything that this country stands for. And it's broken my heart for years, which is why I've done this program for as long as I have, in spite of the opposition to it. I can't get traction. I can't get viewers to see it. I can't get listeners to hear it. A couple thousand people a day? You kidding me? I think any minister who said, I've got a congregation that small, would probably go home and say, you know what? I'm just going to pray in my own living room because I can't do anything. I used to consider this a mission. But a mission for what? Mission to accomplish what? We're losing. We're losing the fight. We're losing the war. We lose battle after 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 battle. We've got 5 minutes left in this segment, and if I said after battle for the next 5, I wouldn't be inaccurate. The EPA is, the IRS is, the NSA is an enemy of massive, stunning, and staggering proportion. They have resources beyond anything you can conceive of. Power to destroy. And that's the only power they have. Government is only force. And we've allowed that fire to get out of our control. If you'd like your input on this, you can. 573-453-5505. But I'm going to suggest to you that this phone won't ring, and I'll tell you why. Because all the efforts to educate and inform you, to motivate you, to activate Americans, to stand up, to do the right thing, to wake up, recognize the danger you're in, to awaken you to the reality of what the EPA and these agencies are doing to our country and to you and to your family. I think they're for naught. And I think America is going to slide into a complete and total and utter collapse. And then they will attempt to try to scrabble their way back to a position of strength. And a lot of blood is going to get spilt. And a lot of people are going to get hurt and maimed and die. Every fortune you think you have will be lost. And your nation will have betrayed you. And you will have betrayed your nation. Not you specifically. Well, maybe. I don't know. What would our founders have done by now? What would they have done by now? They wouldn't be sitting there afraid to speak out of their pulpits. They wouldn't be afraid to get out there and call it like it is because they were afraid of a politically correct response from somebody or something. They didn't shirk from their duty. They spoke loudly and clearly. They wouldn't have let themselves get separated and divided over black and white and Hispanic and abortion and non-abortion and life and pro-life and anti-life. They wouldn't have allowed themselves to get split up and separated over things like animal rights and, all this nonsense. It's all diversionary tactic and division. Keep them separated because, God forbid, if the caste, and I say caste, C-A-S-T-E, ever gets together and they ever have a moment to plan, our goose is cooked. That's what Congress is sitting there saying to themselves. That's what the Pentagon says. They know it. But we'd rather fight about whether or not you're gay and or not gay, or how you owe allegiance and genuflection to somebody who is. I don't really care who you sleep with. Why does it matter? And why do you care that I care or don't care? That's the real question. Why do you care that I don't care? America, we're done. And that's the simple truth. And unless you're willing to stand up and do something, there's just nothing. There's nothing to keep this thing moving. All right, we'll take your call in a second, Susan. We're going to have a break coming up in 24 seconds. When we come back, we're going to talk about the faces of the NSA's new facial recognition databases being built, using the internet, social media, your driver's license. I don't care what they tell you. They're lying their tails off to you. And they're building databases to subjugate and enslave you, America. Just keep playing along.